And now it's time for Extra Point with your host, Phil Jones.
We're good? We're on? Okay, here we go. It is Extra Point with Phil Jones and Mazzani Matthews. You never hear me call her Mazzani. You hear me refer to her as Miss Producer. And let me bring her in now to start things off. Miss Producer, how are you?
I'm good. How about you? I hope everybody had a great weekend. We made it back safely from Collins Hill. It was a great trip. It was a long trip. We got into some traffic, but nonetheless, we made it home safely. We had to stop at Buc-ee's. So.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I need to start bringing me back some I'm a little tangled up here. Sorry. So I need to start bringing me back some Buc-ee's mementos. Some like, I don't know, you got something. You got a coffee cup or something, did you not, last week?
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
So,
and I love it.
Of course, the only thing I get is a barbecue sandwich. But it ain't a memento. It ain't going to make it back because it is gone after about 10 minutes after pulling out of Buc-ee's. But anyway, it's so interesting. I've talked about this before. We make our Atlanta trips, which Mazzani just mentioned. We did this past Friday night going up to Collins Hill. Great football game, by the way. It was our ITG next game of the week at Collins Hill. 2-0 on the season. They defeated Woodward Academy, obviously in a rebuild mode. I mean, they didn't look, I don't think, anything like this Class 6A finalist team that we saw last year that lost to Thomas County Central. But a good team nevertheless. Of course, they had Jerome Bettis Jr. You guys remember the bust, the player that longtime Pittsburgh Steeler, fullback, running back, call him whatever you will. He was like a fullback in a tailback, or a tailback in a fullback's body. But his son is nothing like that. He's a tall, lanky guy. He's going to Notre Dame, though. He's a very good football player. And then you had Josiah Abdullah, the other big athlete for them. He had a big-time game the other night, albeit in a losing effort. He's heading to Virginia, but there was some great talent on the field. Landon Walker, the Woodward Academy quarterback, he was a joy to watch. But Collins Hill, let me tell you guys, what a defense. Drew Swick is a defensive-minded guy. He was the defensive coordinator under Lenny Gregory, and, of course, he comes up, gets promoted to the head coach position. And we talked about it last year. Drew Swick, Collins Hill began to catch their second win in the second half of the season last year. They have carried that forward to this year. I was the only one in our composite rankings that I do with the other 5 members in the AJC's composite poll. I had Collins Hill ranked in the top 10 in our very first poll of the year. And, of course, I did have the faith, and they have not let me down. 2-0 on the year. Big wins to start the season for Collins Hill. Grayson, week 1. Woodward Academy, week 2. Those are 2 humongous victories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some great games. I really enjoy watching them. And, just everybody at Collins Hill was so nice. And the hospitality.
Yeah, they really rolled out the red carpet. By the way, Drew Swick talked to me after the game. When I got home, we were having a 4 a.m. Saturday morning chat, and he went back and actually watched the game Friday night.
Nice.
Yeah, and he was really pleased. And so, guys, hope y'all were able to catch the game. We had a great time. This week, we come back to the southern part of the state. Going to be bringing you what I think is going to be another great game. I've talked about it before, guys. We have got such a great slate of games all season long. This week, it's Brooks County at Cook County. What a big-time game this is going to be. We are looking forward to bringing y'all this. Brooks County, of course, taking a week off after dropping their first game, the opening game of the year. But here they go, coming back this week against Cook, who, by the way, had a huge victory this past week over the Bainbridge Bearcats, 13-10.
Oh, wow.
So Cook, 2-0 on the year. Brooks County, 0-1, but they'll be trying to get into the win column this week. So, as always, we encourage you guys to check in with us during the show today. Big shout-out, big thanks to the sponsors of our show. Of course, Dr. Kevin Collins and the Houston Clinic and our friends at Pepsi Cola. So a big shout-out to those great sponsors who make the show possible for us. And I'll be cracking open this ice-cold Pepsi here in just a minute and wetting my whistle a little bit.
I see a lot of people checking in on here. Jim Blair, he says, we got a good test this week, I believe, in Norfolk Gwinnett. And then we see Jackson Strong checking in. He says, what happened to the Brooks County Trojans helmet behind you? So if you guys look behind Phil, okay, I zoomed in a little bit this week. So the Brooks County helmet is on the top rack above him, okay? So
and thank you for zooming in, by the way.
Yes, I wanted to zoom in a little bit and frame it up a little different this week.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because I see a lot of people talk about, and I noticed it looked like I'm a mile away, you know, doing the show.
Yeah, exactly. So
listen, you got such a great eye for this.
Thank you.
You compliment the show. You compliment our broadcast so well. And you never hear from her on Friday night, the game of the week, but she is the one behind all the great shots. Did you see the compliments, by the way?
I didn't.
From the Collins Hill people?
Oh,
so Jack Hernandez's parents went back and watched the game. Of course, we talked about him a good bit. He's a linebacker for Collins Hill. And they were just – so many people in that thread were commenting about the great video and the great camera angles. Yeah, so kudos to you.
That. Thank
Absolutely.
You guys.
Absolutely. All right. Collins, Buddy McDaniel checking in. By the way, real quick, after we do this every show, if you're new to the show, and I hope that we are continuing to pick up new folks, new viewers watching the show. If you are new to the show, look, we like to engage with you guys, okay? Talk to us. We'll talk to you. We'll talk with you. Read your comments. Me and Miss Producer will take turns reading all of your comments. And if we miss your comment, don't worry. Come back to us. It is really easy to skip over some of the comments. We get so many, but we love you guys. So keep those comments coming. Let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know where the game was that you were at this past Friday. Just like Collins, Buddy McDaniel said, the best game this past week was Ware County Coffee. Of course, Collins, Buddy McDaniel is a big coffee fan, so he's going to be a little bit biased, although it was a great game. And let me give a game ball to the head coach of the Coffee Trojans, Mike Coe, for defeating Jason Strickland and the Ware County Gators Friday night. Great job, Coach Coe and Coffee, in knocking off Ware. Big-time win. Way to go. Coffee looking very much like they're picking up where they left off last year. Defending state champion, and it's still early, but, man, they are not looking like they have missed much at all. All right, Jim Blair, again, you mentioned Jim Blair. It says Seminole 2-0 and ranked. Absolutely. They are. By the way, you guys check out yours truly in the ITG Next Top 10 rankings all throughout our classifications. And, again, as I have reminded you guys, ITG Next, part of the AJC and Georgia High School Football Daily's composite rankings. We, along with 5 other media outlets, Max Preps, Score Atlanta, 680 The Fan, AJC. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. Anyway, we are part of the composite rankings. You guys check it out. Tell us what you think, and you'll see those rankings. And, of course, on the ITG Next Facebook page and our newsletter that goes out twice a week, you can also check out My Pick 6, our articles that we have, the rankings that we do, a lot of great stuff. You guys offer some great comments. We have our top performers list. So check it out, guys. And if you're not subscribing to our ITG Next Georgia newsletter that comes out twice a week, why not? Go to ITG Next and our Facebook page and subscribe to the newsletter. It's not going to cost you anything. It'll be in your email inbox a couple of times every week. So, all right, Miss Producer, what you got?
So I see Cole Moore says Coffee's defense deserves a game ball.
All right, and you got it, brother, without a doubt. I talked to Mike Coe I sent him a big congratulations, a great win over Ware County, and I sent him a note saying, Coach, great game, congratulations, that's a big win. And Coach Coe sent me, I think, said the Coffee defense limited Ware to, I believe he said 91 total yards.
Wow, the whole game.
I believe it was 91. He sure did.
That's a strong defense. And I see Matthew Fielder, he says Coffee is playing out of state this week.
Yes,
who
yes, they are. Guys, who are they playing? I don't have that schedule in front of me, but they are playing. I think it's Columbia, if I'm not mistaken, out of Lake City. I could be wrong, but I think this is a stretch where they're playing a couple of games. I think they're going to play Mainland, if I'm not mistaken. That's the team that Travis Rowland coached. Of course, Travis Rowland now the Camden County coach. But anyway, double check. You guys fact check me on that. Make sure I'm right on that. But anyway, going to talk about my pick six. I mentioned that earlier. I went 6-0, and that was 5-1 in week one. So that's 11-1 through the first couple of weeks. And I got to tell you guys, some great games Friday night. How about Buford getting back on the horse? They get back into the win column, and they avoid going 0-2 for the first time in I don't know how long. But team that is 0-2, Benedictine, goes to 0-2. Guys, listen, I talked about this, and I've been talking about this. This is really no surprise. I mean, yeah, you look at Benedictine, a team like Benedictine, 0-2. I guess that is a surprise. But, again, when you look at their schedule, and I talked about this, Benedictine, I think, I ranked the top 10 toughest schedules before the year.
Yeah.
And I believe Benedictine was right there at the top. I think second hardest, I believe. Of course, I had Veterans ranked as the hardest schedule in the state. Benedictine right there, and you can see why. Man, what a heck of a start to the season for Benedictine, a team not used to seeing themselves at 0-2. But that's exactly where they find themselves after the first couple of games.
And I think although that it's a little rough for them right now, they're starting off 0-2, I think that later in the season it's really going to pay off for them.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's the thing about it. That's where these tough schedules get your team ready. Look, I'm a big proponent of these teams that play these tough non-region schedules, because the time you get to region, you are acclimated to playing tough opponents against tough competition. That's going to get you ready, and you're right. It's going to go a long way, I think, toward the end of the season of separating really the winners from everybody else.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I see here that Cole Moore says Ware only had 8 yards rushing. But then other people are letting us know that, yes, it is Columbia, Florida, that they will be playing.
Big-time matchup, Columbia, the Columbia Tigers, kind of fashioned after LSU, gold and purple, a lot of the paw print on the side there. Again, I remember when I did Hamilton County games for a couple of years, and Madison County as well. They had some big matchups with Columbia. So they're a big-time program. They've had a lot of great athletes come out of there. They're a little down. So I think Coffee should win this thing pretty easily, but still, nevertheless, they are one of Florida's traditionally strong programs there in Columbia County. Columbia Tigers, that is Lake City, by the way. So, all right. So let's there's Kennedy Hill Thomas checking in. Now, Kennedy used to spend some time on the show. She worked with us kind of as an intern.
Okay.
And now she's got her own gig. She is the sports information director over at Richmond Hill.
Nice.
Yeah, doing her thing. And we say hello to Kennedy. Kennedy, great to see you, and thanks so much for checking in. We will be seeing Kennedy and the rest of the crew at Richmond Hill later this year as we go there to do one of their games. Tift County visiting Richmond Hill.
Yep.
Going to be interesting. Richmond Hill, big winners over Glenn Academy. Watch out for Richmond Hill. I've been warning you guys. Let's talk for a moment about that other team, Tift County. So Tift County gets an opening win over Griffin.
Yes.
Big win to start the year. Everybody's hyped up. Well, they should be. You know, it's not something that Tift County has done a whole lot of, which is winning and shutting out teams. But they went to Griffin, pulled a big opening season win. But they came back down to earth. this past week. They lose to Gadsden, Alabama, and lost in a big way. They were down by a bunch at halftime. Guys, listen, it's growing pains. Gadsden is a good football team. Gadsden is the team that's been playing everybody over in South Georgia for the last couple of years. Colquitt, Tift. I think they played Lowndes. And anyway, they're a good team. So Tift County, don't hang your heads. You're 1-1. Still going to be interesting to see Jeff Littleton's Tift County Blue Devils. That's so weird to say. As they go forward throughout the season. And I think you're going to see them steadily improve. Going to have a great game by the time they go to Richmond Hill.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And that'll be September 27th where we see them in Richmond Hill. And I see here we have Matthew Fielder. He says, I'm excited for Houston County versus Perry. That should be a good one. And then, Perry, they just won against Peach County this past Friday.
Absolutely. And I had some people that were predicting Peach County to win that one. Maurice Westbrooks. Listen, and that's the thing about it, guys. It was a great game. Seemed like it was a really good game. But in the end, Perry, too much. And I got to tell you, I talked about Coffee picking up where they left off last year, winning the 5A state championship. You've got Perry doing the same thing. Of course, you're defending 4A. Now, that's last year. State champions, and they are picking right up also where they left off. So we're going to talk about a lot of the games, starting off with the pick six that I mentioned earlier. Woodward Academy at Collins Hill. I had predicted Collins Hill to win that one 16-10. They win it 21-14. Let me tell you something, guys. You want to talk about a defense.
Yeah.
Collins Hill defense is for real, ain't they?
They are for real.
Oh,
for real.
my goodness. When I saw that Grayson score to open the season, I thought, I don't know. Might have been. I'm not real sure what happened there. Grayson was leading that game 19-3. Collins Hill came back, and the reason they were able to come back in that game is they switched quarterbacks. Okay? And we saw the quarterback, McCary Cross, who came in the second half of the Grayson game. He came in midway through the first quarter of the game Friday night, and let me tell you, he is the real deal. So they've got him a quarterback. They got him a defense. Look out for Collins Hill. I had predicted they would win 16-10 at the Hill, and they actually did win it 21-14. How about the Benedictine-Buford game? We're going to get your comments here in just a minute, but real quick, Benedictine-Buford. I predicted Buford to win this thing 21-17. They win it 29-28. What'd you guys think about this one? Buford had to really pull a rabbit out of the hat late to win this one, but win it they did. But is this the same Buford team that we've been used to seeing, guys? Don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch Buford this year for sure. Milton at American Heritage. Milton, we're going to be talking to the former athletic director, Coach Sly, going to be joining us at about 5:45. Milton goes down, second straight year. They're playing in the Broward County Classic. They go in and play American Heritage. They come away with the 37-28 win. I had predicted they were going to win 35-20.
That's
so indeed,
pretty close.
they go down, take care of business. So Milton off to a great start. And just like I talked about Coffee, Perry, we're talking about defending state champions. Is it too early and is it too premature of me, guys, if I say go ahead and give the state championship trophy to Milton?
Might be a little premature. just a little.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Of course, Milton now in class 5A. But I got to tell you guys, they are looking pretty darn good right now. So let's before we go through the rest of the Pick Six, let's see what our folks are saying here on the show. Let me hear your comments, guys. We're going to chat with you. Mazzani, Miss Producer, and myself going to read these comments. So let me hear from you. I'll start off real quick, Miss Producer, with Charlotte Laster Langford. Hey, Phil and Mrs. Producer, checking in from Langston Hughes. It's very premature, Phil, for you to be saying that. I love it. That's what I wanted to know. So point taken, and I got you there, Charlotte Lester Langford. Thank you so much for checking us out, by the way, from Langston Hughes. By the way, your Langston Hughes team looking very good. Who else we got, Miss Producer?
So I have Bruce Carter. He actually gave us some scores for his area. LaGrange 53 against Early County 0.
A little surprise there of the difference in that score.
Yeah, that's drastic. Seminole County 27, Chattahoochee County 13. And then we have Miller and Southwest Georgia Academy were open. So they didn't have to go in against anybody that week.
All right. Okay.
And Jim Blair, he's shouting out. He said Irwin and Worth had a shootout.
They did. Guys, if you go back to the Worth Cairo, was that the scrimmage they had, I believe? That was a shootout. Worth County now gets into the shootout with Irwin, you say?
Yes.
So it looks like Worth County got a lot of offense, but needs some defensive help. So we'll see there. All right, Matthew Fielder says former Jones County head coach Justin Rogers got his 100th career win at Thomas County Central. How about that?
Wow.
And how many people remember, great get, by the way, Matthew Fielder. I wonder how many people knew and remember Justin Rogers being the head coach at Jones County. That's where he made his hay. That's where he kind of got noticed before Colquitt County came calling for his services.
Let me see here. Oh, Milton clicking on all cylinders. They are the team to beat for sure. And that was by Jerry Harrison. That's a good point.
Guys, I got to tell you, really, I talked about Milton, talking about Coffee, talking about Perry. Those are your defending state champions, 3 of them. Let's talk about the other ones. How about Pierce County? Early and small sample size.
Yeah.
And I get it. One game does not make the season, but they are looking every bit like they're picking up where they left off. What is the recurring theme here? It looks like all of your state champions, for the most part, are picking up where they left off. Now, Prince Avenue Christian.
Yeah.
They did fall. They blow a 21-0 lead over Mallard Creek this past week, and they lose 31-21. Anybody watch that game that can enlighten me on what happened there with Coach Greg Vandergriff's Wolverines from Prince Avenue Christian there in Bogart? What happened? Somebody tell me. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, because that's what happened to make that game just turn around like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
I know we were talking on the phone with, Jeffrey's on the way home, and he mentioned the Lanier. Didn't they play Berrien? And they said that was a great game.
Yeah, it looks like Lanier, David Dean gets his first victory as the head coach there of Lanier County. They defeated Berrien County. Ken Eldridge still trying to get the Berrien County Rebels up and running. 2 programs that are, fighting for their lives this year. Hate it for Ken Eldridge. Congratulations for David Dean pulling out the win. That was a tough one there. Those are the kind of games you just hate to see either one lose. But in the end, it was Lanier County getting the victory.
And then we see here that Jackie J. Alexander, he says Junior RB and LB Darian Roberts rushed for 237 yards and 4 touchdowns on 11 carries. 2 touchdowns at the FB position and 1 at QB. And then defensively, he took every snap and had 8 solo tackles, 1 sack, and an 80-yard pick, 6 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery that saved a touchdown. Best individual performance so far this season. That was a mouthful. He did all of that in one game.
Who was it?
This was Darian Roberts, a junior. And I believe they said he played for – let me go back up here. I don't want to mistake it. Was that Atkinson County that somebody mentioned? I don't know. I don't want to say Atkinson County.
So who was the player? I'll tell you, that is one heck of a performance, without a doubt. Listen, I need top performers every week. Now, I've got many of the coaches that are sending me theirs, okay? But if you can provide me with real stats, okay, not made up, he got kind of he rushed for almost 300 yards. No, that's not what I need. If you can provide me with actual stats on a player, I would have loved to have heard about this young man because he definitely belonged amongst our top performers, which yours truly puts together for our weekly newsletters. The top 10 performers of the week. But I got to tell you, I've got to take the ones that I get, okay? I'm sure there's some out there that I'm not hearing about that deserve the recognition, but if I don't hear about them, I can't include them. So You guys help me out there, whether it's you or, we've got coaches for different programs. They can send me that information. Definitely want to acknowledge truly the top performers each week.
And he is from Atkinson County.
Okay, so Atkins, how about that? Good for Atkinson County,
Yeah.
who I believe are 2-0 on the year for the first time in like 100 years.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's been a long time for
It
them.
has, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's good for them.
And that's what you like to see, isn't it? Programs that aren't traditionally, known for winning.
Yeah.
I'm talking about winning anything. Good to see them out into a 2-0 start.
Yeah, it's a good change for them. I'm happy for them.
My buddy Stephen K. Wynn, who, again, by extension, an unofficial employee. Not really, but still. Stephen K. Wynn helps us so much that I've kind of indoctrinated him as unofficial employee. But not really. But you get what I'm saying. Stephen K. Wynn certainly helps us out a good bit. Matthew Fielder says number 5, Zachary Thomas had 4 touchdowns against Woodland, including an 85-yard touchdown rush. Now, that was, you said against Woodland, but what team does he play for, Matthew? Cole Moore checking in says, hey, Phil and everyone, Trip Block has reached out to me and wants everybody to pray for him. I've started to pray. Oh, man, what's going on there? Yes, by all means. Trip, let's send our prayers out to Trip Block. Lee County's #1 fan and one of the best dudes I know. He is a great young man. Whatever's going on there, let's wish him the best. Jackson Strong says, what about old Maurice Freeman? Well, what's he doing over there in Alabama? I haven't heard anything since he left Brooks. Anybody give me an update on Maurice Freeman? What's he doing with his new program?
He put that in all caps. He needs to know.
I heard that.
Right?
He wanted that to be seen, didn't he? Anthony Lamar Nelson, Northside Eagles over Warner Robins Demons 28-21. North side is what he's trying to say there. I love it. By the way, that is one of our upcoming Pick 6 games coming up this week. So you guys join me in these games that I'm picking. Would love to hear what y'all think about the games coming up this week as far as the Pick 6 games. I'll tell you real quick, my other Pick 6, I gave you the first 3. I had picked Coffee to defeat Ware 28-14. They win at 20-16. I had picked Perry to defeat Peach 33-30. They win at 49-39. And then last but not least, I had picked Charlton County and Demario Jones to defeat McIntosh County Academy and Coach Bradley Warren. And they did it. Look out. Demario Jones has got Charlton County. The Swamp is excited about their football team again. Charlton County defeats McIntosh County 19-0. I had predicted a 20-14 win, so there you go, baby. Read them and weep. 6-0.
Yeah,
on
you
the
got 'em all.
yeah, come on now. And some people gonna say, yeah, he went straight chalk. No, I didn't. I didn't go straight chalk. That's 6. So anyway, pick 6 every week. You guys can check it out and let me get your picks as well, guys. It ain't just about us. I want to get y'all's picks as well. So, all right, let's see who else is in the house.
Matthew Fielder again. He says Jones County is going to ground the Hampton Hornets.
Look out! There's some Jones County. You know what their team name is?
No, tell me.
The Greyhounds. You gotta love any team that's got a mascot like the Greyhounds. James Rendell is checking in. His son Parks, starting quarterback for those Camden County Wildcats, and he says them Camden County Wildcats is H-E-double-L, H-E-double hockey sticks.
I saw that.
Camden County is heck. As far as I can go there. But, James, I hear what you're saying, man, and give us an update on Parks, man. How's he doing? Sounds like you're doing a pretty good job. And speaking of picking up where they left off, Camden had a great year under Jeff Herron last year. Travis Rowland looks like he's got Camden rolling this year. All right, Miss Producer, who we got?
I see Joseph Kelly. He says Carrollton Trojans checking in. And then,
Love it.
Yeah, C.J. Lane. He said, what's going on, Phil? Looking forward to seeing you at the Hornets Nest this Friday. So hopefully we see you, CJ.
Cannot wait. We are going to be there or be square. We're going to be there, not square. We're going to be there for the ITG next game of the week this Friday night. Brooks County, Cook. What do you guys think about this one? Does Cook have enough to knock off Brooks? Is Brooks, was that first game just kind of an anomaly against the Thomasville Bulldogs? It surprised me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I thought Brooks County would wipe the floor with Thomasville. Didn't happen. Thomasville gets the win. But we will wait and see if Brooks County can bounce back. But we're going to be there.
Yes, and right now I know it may be big, but I think Brooks County is going to bounce back this game.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. I've got it. Of course, I've got to pick this one as we make, of course, the ITG next game of the week, presented by Farrah and Farrah. I've got to include it in my pick 6. So, taking a sneak peek here, who did I pick in that one? I've got it right here. Okay.
Drum roll.
I have right here in my hands. Okay. Brooks Cook. What do you guys think? Who do you think I took in this one?
Let's see what they say.
Yeah. So I'm gonna lay this over here to the side. Here are my pick 6. Look, I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek there. There you go. That's it. Pick 6 this week, we got some good games. North Gwinnett at Colquitt. Now, this is going to, I think, prove if Colquitt is the real deal. Colquitt is off to a couple of good victories, okay? Defeated West Utah and defeated the Monroe Golden Tornadoes this past Friday night. Now, going to get a little tougher. So, this is going to be the first real test of the year for the Colquitt County Packers. The young team they are, rebuilding mode. We're going to see what happens. This will be a big, big test for Sean Calhoun's Colquitt County Packers taking on North Gwinnett, the Bulldogs. Okay, so I've got that one as a pick 6. Houston County at Perry.
Ooh.
Look out for this one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Perry, and I've just been bragging on Perry, but Houston County, they've got aspirations of making it to the state championship. Of course, A.J. Hill, the all-everything, tall drink of water quarterback that he is. Committed to Memphis.
Oh, nice.
It's the real deal. Northside Warner Robins versus Warner Robins. One of my pick 6 games. And, guys, let me tell you, I know that a lot of you get caught up in the Wintersville Classic.
I was going to say, that's also a rivalry, isn't it?
Big, big, big rivalry.
Wow.
I mean, big time as far as rivalries go in the state of Georgia. Northside Warner Robins, McConnell Talbert Stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the state, is going to be packed.
It gives you that Wintersville energy, doesn't it?
Oh, no question. It really does.
Yeah.
So that is a big one. And who do you think I got in that one? Again, that's one of my pick 6. Thomasville at Cairo. Now, Cairo sound like they hung with Thomas County Central for a little bit before Thomas County Central's depth and overall strength took over, and the Yellow Jackets went on to win. But Thomasville is the team this week at Cairo. Can David Coleman's Cairo syrup makers make the upset?
We'll have to see.
We will. And then Blessed Trinity at Prince Avenue Christian. Prince Avenue Christian, 1-1. Blessed Trinity, 2-0. So we will see. But those are my pick 6 games for this week. So want to know what you guys think though about Brooks County Cook. And we'll visit that.
That's a great pick 6
Yeah.
for this week.
Yeah, I think so.
All
Yeah,
all
some great games, right?
Yes.
No.
And it's nice to throw in a little rivalry in there. Everybody loves that.
Absolutely.
So I see TJ Roberts here. He says Cook 28, Brooks 14.
Okay.
I see a lot of people here going for Cook, and they said that Cook. He also says that Cook's defense is too strong. But then Stephen Tate lets us know that Brooks will have their starting RB back. So that may be a game changer for Brooks.
Did you say Brooks will have their starting quarterback back? Is that right?
RB, running back.
Okay. Is that Chris Cole?
Tell us, Stephen Tate, is that Chris Cole, their running back?
Yeah, so he is the man, let me tell you. And if that's the case, look out.
Yeah.
Because he is the real deal for sure. All right. Now, we've also got talking about big games, and you talk about Cook. How about MJ Tippins for Cook? He is one of our top performers from this past week. What you got? Is that for me? We've just been handed this bulletin. How about that? So we have another sponsor. Game of the week, Cook versus Brooks, presented by Farrah & Farrah and Sterling Group Orthopedics.
Nice.
Always want to mention the folks who make it possible that we put these games on the air. So there you go. Cook Brooks, presented by Farrah & Farrah and Sterling Group Orthopedics. So that is news, and good to mention them, and we welcome them aboard.
Oh, Obadiah, Farley, Mac Foster, they both pick Cook to win this game.
I tell you, this is a good one. Now, Cook, that's a big win for Cook over Bainbridge. And, yeah, Bainbridge, a little bit of a rebuilding year this year. Jay Walls, but they're young. I think 15 seniors is all they have for Brooks, or for Bainbridge, rather. Cook, kind of finding their way. Cook is also young, okay? But anyway, in a battle of the youth, it's Cook that gets the win over Bainbridge. But now this is going to be the real test. And I'm going to tell you, Josh McFather and Brooks, we heard about all the preseason hype. I was right there leading the charge.
Yes.
Okay. But I got to tell you, Brooks is they're hungry. They don't want to go to 0-2. Yeah. And they've had a week off to contemplate that season opening loss against Thomasville. So we're going to see what happens in this one. Cook and Brooks, it will be the ITG next game of the week. As always, we encourage you guys to get out and support your favorite team, okay? Go to the game, but if you can't make it, the next best option, if you cannot make it, if you can't be there in person to support your team, we've got you covered. And that game is going to be on both the ITG Next Facebook page and our YouTube channel as well. So we had a lot of people watching on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, I was actually surprised by that, and it was nice to see everybody's comments on YouTube. So you guys keep them coming. You know, Phil reads them as we go. So it's very exciting to film those games for you guys. Yeah,
we had so many players, guys, their families all across the United States were watching. Grandparents were watching. I mean, in Wyoming, in Utah. And that's the beauty of what we do.
Yeah.
Okay? The beauty of bringing you guys these games for the local fans and for the alumni that are spread all over the country that would otherwise not be able to watch the game.
Exactly.
Okay?
Even for the band, it was a lot of people who had children in the band or grandchildren in the band. And you know, during halftime, sometimes Phil takes a break. He's always on go, but he'll place his headset down so that you guys can hear the band. And Collins Hill and Woodward Academy, they put on a pretty great show last week with the band. So I know some people were, we had some viewers that wanted to see their person in the band. So, yeah, that's good for that, too.
Yeah, it gives me a rest. The only chance I get to rest my vocal cords and make a trip to the little boys' room during halftime. Because as Miss Producer will tell you, from the start of the game to the end of the game, I don't sit down on my feet, ripping and roaring, giving you guys the play-by-play. So that's where you got to do it. But anyway, it does give me a chance to rest, but it also, as Ms. Producer just mentioned, gives the band. And, well, they deserve a little bit of recognition, a lot of recognition, actually. And there's a lot of folks that enjoy that as well, as far as the halftime entertainment.
They keep the energy going at the game.
Absolutely they do. So we got, it sounds like, Nick Fletcher, my buddy Nick, who I know is a big Toombs County fan. Nick Fletcher says, don't know if you're busy October the 25th, but Toombs versus Vidalia is a rivalry worth attending. Now, do they call that the Onion Bowl by any chance? Do you know why I say that? Vidalia onions, of course. Yeah. Best onions in the world.
They are good.
But I don't know, sometimes in these rivalries, it's like the Great American Rivalry, which Northside won Robbins and one Robbins is, Valdosta Lowndes is. So just kind of wondering what the Toombs Vidalia game is. So, inquiring minds want to know.
That I'm pretty sure that will be an exciting game, but we'll be at Perry at Benedictine.
Is that right?
That's where we'll be.
So sorry, Nick. Love to be there, but as Miss Producer just mentioned, we're going to be a little tied up.
Yes.
On the 25th for a little old game that could have ramifications by the time that rolls around.
I would love to see where Perry and Benedictine are by that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, guys, just real quick, in case you're wondering about our ITG Next Game of the Week lineup, do you have it in front of you there?
I do.
So, who we got this week? We talked about Cook and Brooks. And by the way, now, I am sad to mention that we did have Thomas County Central Thomasville scheduled, but that game is off. Okay? No. And I'm not really going to get into the details, but we were told today, no go Thomasville not going to allow us to do it. So, anyway, we're going to have to find an alternate game. But I promise you guys, we'll be bringing you all a lot of quality games as we move forward. So, this week, Brooks at Cook. We'll skip over week 4. That is to be determined. But week 5, we'll pick back up with whom?
So, for week 5, we'll actually see Brooks County again, but Fitzgerald at Brooks County. So, we'll be going to Quitman for that game.
Yep.
And then week 6, we'll be back up kind of like in the Atlanta area, Wheeler at Marietta.
Go to Cobb County. Going to be one of our regular stops that we've been to before. Marietta Northcutt Stadium will be the venue for Wheeler at Marietta.
And then week 7, we have Tiff County at Richmond Hill.
Big matchup for those two teams, and it's going to see Jeff Littleton taking his Blue Devils to Richmond Hill to take on Matt Lozada's Richmond Hill Wildcats. Who else we got?
Oh, and then week 8, we have Collins Hill at Buford, so we get a chance to see Collins Hill again.
Collins Hill, smothering defensive front. Wait till you see these guys. Don't miss this one. I'm telling you. And there's no telling where Collins Hill is going to be by the time that game rolls around. At Buford, that's going to be a big one. We're going to be in Gloryland as Collins Hill at Buford. We will be there to bring you that game. And then the next week, where are we at?
We are at – so, actually, we'll be at Gainesville. Gainesville will be playing Milton.
Milton. I've been talking about Milton. They're going to be at the Gainesville Red Elephants. You guys don't think that's going to be a big game.
Yeah.
So you guys can see. We've got some big-time games coming up for you. After Milton at Gainesville, who we got?
We have TCC at Northside Warner Robins.
Look out. Thomas County Central at Northside Warner Robins. Now we're getting in to some big-time games there. Going to be a region matchup there, so that's going to be a big one. Justin Rogers, Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets going to visit Ben Bailey's Northside Warner Robins Eagles. Week 11.
And then we have week 11, we have Perry at Benedictine.
Ooh, man, what a game that's going to be. Yeah. Perry at Benedictine. I think Benedictine is going to be on a roll by the time that one rolls around. And then week 12, we are undecided.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a little toss-up between these two games. You want me to reveal the options?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
So for week 12, we have either Roswell at Milton, or we're going to do Houston at Lee County.
You guys can give us some feedback on that, whatever you think. And obviously we're going to wait until that week gets a little bit closer and see where everybody is, and we'll make a decision. We'll make a game-time decision, so to speak, about which game. But that is a look at our ITG next games of the week. And, again, we absolutely love bringing y'all these games. And, again, big thanks to Farron Farah and Sterling Group Orthopedics. Got to love it. All right, who else is on the show here? Who we got watching?
Let me see. We have Barry Van. He says, Cook going to win until they meet the powerhouse Pierce County.
Guys, listen. I mean, we've already got some great games, but you're going to start hearing all of these games week after week. This game, this game, this game. Miss Producer just mentioned it to you. Cook taking on Pierce. I mean, it's going to be like that every week.
Yeah.
And we've already, the first couple of weeks, have seen all these super competitive games that I'm talking about. And so it's just going to get, it's just going to ramp up and get better and better. Real quick, like some games from this past weekend. How about Carrollton? They stay undefeated, beat Columbia. We mentioned Buford. Did any of you guys see that game going back and forth? Buford defeats Benedictine. Douglas County, a big win. Look out for Douglas County. They got a couple of twin wide receivers that are just unbelievable. Walton, they win to go 2-0. Mill Creek, 2-0 on the year. North Gwinnett. Now, we had somebody just talk about North Gwinnett, Colquitt County. That's going to be a big one coming up this week. Gerald Gibbons says Colquitt County beats North Gwinnett in a close one. How about that?
That's interesting.
Obadiah Farley's talking to you.
I see one comment by Obadiah. He said, I'll be watching from the Jackets Nest as usual as we take on FSU High School.
Okay, all right. This is, so I laugh because this high school, it's Florida High School, but their name is Florida State.
Wow.
Everything that you would see from this team, okay, they're the Seminoles.
Oh, I was about to say, are they the Seminoles as well?
Well, they have the Seminole colors. They have the spear.
They could do that?
You know, with their name. Well, yeah, they're kind of like a it's not a magnet school, but it's like a, I don't know. They're associated with Florida State. However, they're not called Florida State High. They're Florida High. It can get confusing. But anyway, they're going to be the opponent for Thomas County Central coming up. Now, I guess Obadiah Farley just wanted to jump right past me.
But I did see his question.
Yeah.
He says, who does Valdosta play this Friday? And I believe they play Darty County.
Well, my goodness, Valdosta, boy, they are really tackling some tough opponents so far.
Oh,
Man,
I
great
hear the
goodness,
sarcasm.
how they're going. I mean, come on, Monday's meal.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. Just
Even though the opponents haven't been the toughest, I think they'll still be pretty good and do a good job once they start hitting these region games.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt Valdosta's got a great team. There's no doubt. I just I'm of the opinion that playing games like that, I mean, let's face it, Monday's meal, no business being on the field with Valdosta. And it's just, you can say that about a lot of different teams, okay? Hapeville Charter is really traditionally a solid football team in the state, but they lost to Lee County, I think it was 66-6, if I'm not mistaken, the final. And look, Hapeville Charter has a strong traditional program, but they just are not a good matchup with Lee County. And that's the way it is with Monday's meal in Valdosta. That's the way it was with Tucker in Valdosta, okay? So, anyway, that's my only beef there. But, no, Valdosta's got a good team. They're going to be good. I just don't think there's a whole lot that you can get out of these games.
Oh, I understand.
That's all
I
I'm
see
saying.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Obadiah says, boo.
Daniel James checking in, says, what's up, Phil and crew, checking in from Stockbridge. Daniel, what's up, man? What's up with Stockbridge, by the way, the football team there? Matthew Fielder says, prediction, Jones County 49, Hampton 7. Boy, what did y'all think about Florida State? We got going to be checking in with Coach Sly here in just a minute. Michael Baxter said, what do you think about Georgia Tech beating Florida State?
Wow.
Real quick, before we get Coach Sly in here. So I thought it was a great win for Georgia Tech.
I agree.
Yeah.
People were expecting to be upset.
No doubt. But I want to mention something real quick.
I mean, they weren't. That's what I meant to say.
So I really got to know the Fitzgerald family over the last couple of years. Of course, I'm talking about Chad Fitzgerald and Sandy. They are the parents of the Fitzgerald boys. Brett, that kicks for Colquitt now, and Ryan Fitzgerald, who kicks for Florida State. And the Fitzgerald texted me from Ireland, where the game was held.
Oh, yeah, it was in Ireland.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, they are so gracious. Here they are taking time out to tell me what Brett had done in the Colquitt game. Again, our top performers, giving me his stats. But then they also, told me, of course, that Ryan hits like what was it, a 58-yard field goal?
It was pretty long. That field goal,
Yes. And, I mean, you know how hard that is to do? Kicking off the grass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
again, love the Fitzgerald family. They are good folks, and they have a family of kickers. Chad was a kicker. Of course, Ryan was a great kicker for Colquitt, now at Florida State University. And now Brett is coming up. And, by the way, Brett is about set to break his brother's record.
wow.
For all-time field goals and points at Colquitt.
What a leg.
No doubt.
A leg on them.
No doubt. All right, without further ado now, let's welcome in our caller. It is the one, the only, longtime athletic director, led Milton Athletics to many championships, not just football, but got one of the best lacrosse teams in the state. Coach Alan Whitehart and the basketball team won a state championship. Great program, and let's bring in the man responsible for a lot of that success, Coach Sly, on the line with us. Coach, what's happening?
How we doing? Y'all doing good?
Good. How about you?
Doing well.
Coach, I want to start off by asking you about Milton. You guys were Milton was down in South Florida to take on American Heritage, the Broward County Showcase. Talk about the game.
Yeah, well, this is our second year going down there, and this year you just felt a different vibe. I told Coach Reeves it felt like the vibe we had in Philadelphia when we played St. Joe's and upset them when they were number 10 in the country. And sure enough, these kids went down there, the veteran team, all business. Even the one of the guys who run it said even your coaches had a different face on than was the years past. And I think it was just, we got to go down there and take care of business, represent Georgia first off, Fulton County, right, and our high school as well. But we want to represent everybody up here. And I'm proud of the kids. They did well. They definitely it was a battle. It was a back and forth battle. They're a talented team. They got speed everywhere. They're bigger than you think they are. That quarterback's the real deal. But our kids rose up. I'm very proud of them.
Of course, Milton going down for, again, the second consecutive year to take part in the Broward County Showcase. And as Coach Sly just mentioned, they come away with the victory. Coach, listen, I've been talking about, these defending state champions really picking up where they left off, not just talking about Milton, but talking about Coffee, Pierce, Prince Avenue Christian. Of course, they run into a little bit of a problem. They get beat by Mallard Creek, but there's nothing to hang your head about that. I mean, that's a good team. All these teams have got such strong, tough schedules. And you guys do as well, and that just makes it great. Ms. Producer, and you can chime in on this, Sly. It makes it great for the fans.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately the players, the teams, they're going to get better. But this is what high school football is all about. Big-time competition, week in and week out.
Yeah, people really enjoy seeing close games. Keep them on their toes the entire game. If people is just if a team is just beating a team like 40-0, it kind of gets boring after a while.
Absolutely, it does.
So I like seeing close games. It keeps you anxious.
Absolutely, suspenseful, suspenseful football. But Coach Sly, what do you think, man?
100%. We always say, I hear me say this before. Our coach always says it. The difference between 5-0 and 0-5 is scheduling. That's what it is, right? I mean, scheduling. You can schedule teams you can beat, or you can schedule teams will challenge you. And if you beat those teams, you're better. If you lose to those teams, you're still better. As long as they challenge you, I think we do a good, just like a lot of teams do in the country. But, what people don't understand is you're taking 96 people, all right? We had 126 people on the plane. 96 were, all right, was our program. Coaches and players and support staff. The South Florida, I got to give props to my wife, who's a little director of football operations and dealing with what she dealt with boarding passes and just, setting up everything. I mean, the bowl community does a great job down there. You got to set all things up yourself. And the logistic part of it she handled. But to get 96 kids down there and coaches and players and staff, and then keep them focused for a day of, practice. We practiced that first day. I don't want to say with wet blow boys, you'll probably get in trouble, but that morning on Thursday, it was so hot. It was ridiculous. And they stayed locked in. I saw the energy they had. My point is, it's not easy just to travel in general, let alone play a team that has won 5 state championships in the last probably 10 years, and they're nationally ranked every year. And that's how you get better. So to your point, Phil, yeah, you're going to put it on the line. You're going to get better. Your fans love it. I think we traveled. We had 100-something fans on there from Milton alone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. They packed out a pre like a restaurant bar for pregame, and they basically packed it out all Milton people. They actually announced about it. They talked about it on the ESPN show. So we had a great support from our community. So to say all that, to say it was a great night. And, it was a great game. It helps us, what our ultimate goal could be. But now we got out for this week. It's the rival game, right? Come right back, and kids are tired. They're banged up. So it's going to be a week to challenge them to get focused, get ready to go.
Stephen K. Wynn says Milton looked the part. That's for sure. Michael Baxter says Stephen K. Wynn, yes, they did. Cole Moore agrees, says Stephen K. Wynn. They are scary good. Again, this is talking about Milton. Stephen K. Wynn adds, yes, 5A is theirs to lose. Jim Blair adds, and we do want to mention this, a big shout-out to my buddy Matt Helmrich and his Peachtree Ridge team. Man, they went and gave it all they had against a very speedy, athletic Monarch team down there in the same Broward County Showcase event. They come away a 1-point loss, but let me tell you, that is a great team that they played, and Peachtree Ridge have nothing to be ashamed about. Coach, you want to talk about that game?
Yeah, Matt, props to Matt and his team. And thank you for the props from those people on Steve McCain, one of those guys, giving us props. We appreciate it.
Yep.
One game at a time, but thank you for that. But no, Matt did a great job, and his team did a great job. Here's the thing Matt came across against, and we talked together a little bit. The rules in Florida are different a little bit. Let me tell you what you have to come against when you play out of state. Their knee pad rule is not a joke. They pull you off the field, Phil and Mazzani. They pull you off the field in the middle of play, and then you can't step out of play and fix your knee pads. Like, they don't care. Not going to give you a warning. Not going to say pull it down. So if you're lining up in formation and you got a 4-star DB on a 5-star receiver, and that 4-star gets pulled off, your backup goes in. What do you think happens?
Wow.
Plays being switched. And that's what Matt went against initially. I think Matt got – I think even though they were winning the game the whole game till the very end, I think that was one big thing. He probably won't admit it to you, but I'll tell you, that was one big thing that Matt was fighting against like that. That's a different rule in Georgia. They'll give you a warning up here, pull them down, whatever. In Florida, it's no joke. They're not playing. And we had kids pulled off. We had 2 kids pulled off in the first half of our game.
It's small things like that make a difference, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so wild.
Yeah, I never heard of that before.
Yeah, people don't realize that. So there's definitely some rules that they enforce differently down there than even the sideline rules down there are so strict. I mean, so strict compared to up here. And up here, but down there, so you have to – it may throw you off your game a little bit if you're not prepared or ready for it. It's our second time playing, so we kind of knew what to expect. But, you know, I think that definitely didn't help Matt's team, even though they played great and they really had a chance to win to the very end. So props to him for sure. That was a great job by them.
Wow. We're talking to Coach Sly. He joins us on every Monday show, comes in right around 5:45, 6 o'clock, kind of giving us the update on Milton and teams that kind of surrounding that area up there. Sly, you know, again, we're talking about kind of the area up there, talking about Milton, but really, as we have mentioned, I know there's a lot of folks talking about this, and Mazzani, you can jump in here. This Class 5A, and it's really no secret, but we're now starting to really see how impactful this entire classification is going to be. We've talked about Region 2 5A, okay? We've talked about 7 5A. 7 5A has got Milton, Gainesville, Roswell, and some other teams. Of course, we know about 2 5A, Thomas County Central, Lee County. I mean, it's going to be something to watch this year.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget Langston Hughes. I told you about the beginning of the year.
Yep.
They're the real deal, and they are. And they're, you know, that's another team not to definitely sleep on as well, among others, as you were saying.
Yeah, without a doubt. Rodriguez Upshaw says 5A is indeed special between Langston Hughes, Coffee, TCC, Milton, Gainesville. Any one of these teams can win it all. You are so right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost a shame, really, that there's going to be some really good
so
teams on
many.
the outside looking in, you know?
Yeah. A lot of great teams on the outside looking in, and, like, so many have a chance to win it all. And all the teams that he listed are in your top 10 for a Class of 5A. So.
Yeah, and again, just like Obadiah Farley reminds us, Obadiah Farley, of course, Thomas County Central's #1 fan, says, Obadiah Farley says, Rodriguez Upshaw, don't sleep on Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, we saw what Lee County has done now. The first couple of games, they defeated a really solid Warner Robins team. And then you guys have heard Hateville Charter. Now, Hateville Charter has got a solid program, okay, albeit smaller school. But, I mean, like 66-6, you know. Lee County just rolled in that game. So you're talking about big-time talent, okay? And you're right. Don't sleep on Lee. You better not sleep on Lee. Just so much great talent from end to end. Our buddy Brad Mathis is checking into the show. Brad, what's up? Brad Mathis, of course, is a big Cook High supporter. In fact, I think he's been president of the Touchdown Club. But, Brad, we're going to be at your place Friday night as we have the Cook-Brooks game as our featured game of the week. So look forward to seeing
Brad?
Yeah, Brad Mathis.
Okay, we might see him. And I think C.J. Lane said he's a Hornets fan too, so I
Yeah,
think he's gonna be at
yeah.
that game.
He's got the Yellow Jackets there. So we were up at Collins Hill this past week, Sly. I think I mentioned to you. Saw two really good football teams. Me and Miss Producer did. It was our game of the week, Woodward Academy at Collins Hill. Man, let me tell you, Collins Hill, a great defense, and they are going to be a program to contend with this year.
Yeah, they gave us fits last year. We played them twice. Played them beginning of the year, played them in the playoffs, and we knew they were going to get rolling. And this year, you said it. We think we all said it. They're going to be good, and they're showing it right off the bat. Playing some great competition and doing well. And look at, as you said, their defense is tough. You can stop people from scoring points. I'm not a real smart guy, but you win ball games usually when it happens. So that's a good job by them.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So Brad Mathis says, hey, let's go. I hear you, Brad. Ponchelis Evans talking about Worth. Worth was a better team. The mistakes hurt them at the end. Now, that was Worth. Who did they play again? Worth County played who? We just talked about it.
I can't remember.
Was it Worth and – who was it, guys, that just played? Anyway, remind us who Worth County played in that game. We won't talk about that one. All right, checking out some of your comments, guys. Sly, talk about some of the other teams while we look through the comments here and pick out some of the better ones. What's your take, Sly, on what you've seen so far? First of all, talk about the competition down there in South Florida, American Heritage. How much of a measuring stick were they for your Milton team?
It was a huge measuring stick. Let's face it, Buford was a great measuring stick starting off for sure, right? You knew that. So that made you feel like, okay, we have a team that can contend. We had a veteran team come back in there and answer the bell the first round. And then going down American Heritage, they had a huge fan base there. They had their band. And by the way, another thing you can do in Florida, you can play during the plays with the band. So we had no band. So it was like a library when they played. When we were on offense, it was like a rock concert. And you couldn't. We had a couple of false starts. People was like, oh, Milton's got to get that act together. No, you couldn't even hear. So it was interesting how that happened too. And that's different rule than in Georgia, right? So, and on top of that, their talent level, if you think about it, they're the fastest kid in the state of Florida. I think number 11 was his number. Number 1 is Miami commit to junior, Malachi Tony. The quarterback's a 5-star. O-linemen are probably just as big, if not bigger than Buford. Their D-line, you got everybody on the D-line's committed to D1. Their linebackers go to NC State. I mean, it's just you can go on and on the talent they have. So for measuring stick, it was great for us to come out there with a win and grow. Now, what does that mean the rest of the season? This is game 2 in our eyes. And now we got game 3 coming up, right? Yeah, we move up the rankings. It's really cool to see that, and it's very proud of our kids and our community. End of the day, we're 1-0. We got to go 1-0 again this week in South Florida. That's how we're looking at it.
Should be heavily favored. Sorry, Ms. Ani. Should be heavily favored in that Alpharetta game.
Yeah, and I was just going to read what Michael Baxter, he said Milton has some serious players on their team.
Speaking of which, talk about the player, Sly, that made the ESPN highlight reel.
Yeah, Tip. Tristan Payne. He's the slot receiver for us. He's inside receiver. Last year, got a lot of reps last year, believe it or not, as a young player. But Mark Essley was ahead of him, who's at Valdosta State actually playing right now down here in the woods. Yeah. And Tip just, man, had a great game. That catch and that throw, and it was a good catch and throw. The replay I saw on TV, it was definitely a catch and throw, no problem. But it was amazing. And to sit there in the hotel room when you're half asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning and you see him pop up as number 3 on the ESPN, not top 10 list, you're like, is that Tip? That's up. It was fun to see. And, we had – let's face it, we have a lot of players that are out there that are marquee players, but our linebacking crew, we have Taminia, we have A.J. Benton. Benton's going to Campbell. Taminia does not solidify anything yet. I think Taminia had 14 tackles, tackle for loss. Waveda's his first start last week against Buford, and he had a great game. Tristan Payne's a junior. Tristan Lester's a junior. That's T.J. Lester's brother. He plays linebacker. Of course, had a great game. I mean, our corners, covering those cats. I think it's a lot of people that we didn't realize is we have a lot of guys, a lot of stars, right? A lot of accolades. We got a bunch of guys that aren't very high on the star list, but without those kids, we're not winning. Okay. our running back. He's not. He didn't make anybody's list, including yours, Bill. I don't blame you. He wasn't sap. He was last year hurt a little bit. He wasn't that prolific of a year, but now he's got 135 yards, I think, against American Heritage. He had 120 something yards against Buford, which means our O-line's blocking pretty dang well. On top of that, so we have a lot of people that are unsung heroes that are doing well for us, and I think that makes our team dangerous. If we can stay healthy, the key is staying healthy. That's the key. And we just, the good Lord to take care of that for us.
Yeah.
You're watching the Extra Point with Phil Jones here, ITG Next Georgia. I want to thank you guys for checking out the show. Don't forget, be sure to like and share our page. Hey, let's spread the word, guys. We do this every Monday, 5 o'clock. So we want to see you guys back here every Monday. And again, be sure to share the word, spread the word, and like and share our page. It would be greatly appreciated. And plus, let everybody know what it is that we do, which we think they're missing a great thing as they're not familiar with the show. Greg Tanner, who is a big Richmond Hill fan. Greg, he's a friend. Greg, what's up, brother? Looking forward to seeing you a little bit later this year. It'll be our third straight trip over to Richmond Hill to take on, to watch, rather, the Wildcats. And this year taking on Tift County. But Greg Tanner says Richmond Hill got Everglades from Miami this week. Now, Greg, are you guys making the trip, or I would assume they're coming up to you guys at Richmond Hill? Tell us where that game is going to be, Greg. But, again, love these games featuring all these different teams, these different opponents. That's another great thing about what realignment has brought about. All right, Stephen Tate wants me to ask Coach Sly. Says, ask Coach who he has as his Final Four in 5A. Sly, you there?
All right. I know one team, Milton.
Of course.
I'm gonna go.
Hey, before you do that, okay, let me just preface it, okay? Let me tell you what my 5A top 10 is. Okay. Milton, number 1. Coffee, number 2. Thomas County Central, number 3. Gainesville, number 4. Lee County, 5. Rome, 6. Hoco, 7. Langston Hughes, 8. Roswell, 9. And I'm keeping Woodward Academy just hanging on at number 10. Now, with all due respect, okay, I'm going to set Woodward Academy just off to the side for now. But Coach Sly, Miss Producer, and everybody else out there, do you guys realize those 9 teams, and look, Woodward Academy could come bouncing back, but for now, those first 9 teams, any of those are legitimate state championship contenders. So with that being said, we'll go back to it. Sly, your Final Four.
I'm going to give you 4 teams, and I don't even know how the brackets line up.
I'm with you, yeah.
So it may be where they cross over, they don't cross over. So my Final Four would be Milton, Langston, Lee, and Thomas County.
One more time. You faded out on us there, buddy.
Milton, Langston Hughes, Lee, and Thomas County Central. I think the top 4 teams.
Man, I tell you, that's, I don't argue with that at all. Man, there's some good teams. Coffee not in there.
Yeah.
Gainesville.
Look at you can switch Coffee for anyone, maybe for Lee. You can switch Gainesville for Hughes for sure. If you want to go 6, those for sure are top 6. And then here's the thing. There's going to be 2 Final Four games, right? Obviously, that are going to should be state championship games. We cross over with Region 2 in the Final Four. One of us are going to be knocked out. Whoever's from our region and their region is going to be knocked out, and that's crazy, right? Because those are the 2 strongest probably regions in 5A. So
yes,
it's so interesting. It's so much fun because every week you got to play. Mazzani, what's your thought about that? What's your thought? And thank you, Mr. Tate, for that question. Mazzani, what's your thought about that?
Okay, so for my top 5.
Look out. Dun, 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 dun.
So I was going to put, I'm going to say this is in no particular order, though, for me. All right, so my pick is Coffee. I would say Lee County, Hughes. I don't know between Gainesville or Thomas County Central. And then I'm going to put Milton in there.
Guys, listen, and you really can't go wrong with any of these picks that we're all making. Guys, let us hear from y'all. Give us your either top 4 or top 5. So you've heard from Coach Sly. You've heard from me. You've heard from Miss Producer. So I'll read some of y'all's. Hit me up. Top 4, or you can give me top 5, whatever you want. Cole Moore says, no way Coffee over TCC. Well, look, I know you're a Thomas County Central fan, and look, I have all the respect in the world for TCC, but Coffee is playing. Let me tell you what Coffee's doing. They've got a really solid combination right now of strength. That's what Mike Coe has brought to Coffee. He's got those guys in the weight room, and it is making a huge difference.
Yeah.
Endurance, okay, strength, speed, burst.
That's what it's about.
It is. And endurance. I just think that's what, speed, the conditioning part of it. I think it's the biggest difference that Coach Coe has made. You've got the Woodgett kid who is back. He missed last year due to some discipline issues. He is back. I think it's Tyrone Woodgett, if I'm not mistaken. He is a speedster. He made our top 10 performers list this week. So, you kind of talk about him taking the place of Fred Brown, who was our ITG Next Offensive Player of the Year last year. You just got so many pieces, Cole. I hear what you're saying. But Thomas County Central, of course, has so many pieces themselves. I just don't think you could easily say, with a lot of certainty, Cole and everybody else, that, this team over this team with no doubt. I just don't think you can be that certain about it. That's just my take.
Yeah.
Sly, what do you think? Zani said she agrees. What do you think?
100% agree with you. I think you can't without certainty for sure. That's why I said you can interchange those teams if you want to, and nobody will think you're a fool doing it because they're both talented, loaded, well-balanced, to your point. And I think you're seeing now what it takes to win a state championship. You have to be balanced. You have to have a run game, a pass game, but you got to play great defense. And the teams you're all mentioning do all that across the board. And you got to know what it takes. I think the thing is those teams in say the region, 2-5A, they have a template already like we do in place. We know what it takes. Now there's a lot of variables involved. However, Langston knows what it takes. There's a lot of variables involved, right? I think that helps you when it comes down to crunch time, playing a team that may have not been there before, doesn't know what it takes to win a game like that, right? Or get to the game 15.
100%. Somebody's talking about sleeping on Gainesville. I think it looks like Gainesville, at least early on, Ms. Producer and Sly, it looks like they may be better than they were last year or the year before. They went over to, let's talk about this real quick. We're not talking much about Grayson. Of course, I know they're in the higher classification, but so you had, just as we had Peachtree Ridge, Milton going to Florida, South Florida, you also had Gainesville and Grayson going to Alabama Thursday to take on a couple of state powers in Alabama.
Okay.
Excuse me. And both Grayson and Gainesville come away with big wins. Grayson defeated Thompson High, just a solid program. And then you've got Grayson. They defeated Thompson, I'm sorry. Then you had Gainesville defeated Moody, Alabama. Another strong team. In fact, I think Gainesville, it was like 3-0 at the half. And then Gainesville pulled it away in the second half. But look at what, these teams, I talked about Sly using the American Heritage as a measuring stick. Look at these teams from Georgia. There's 4 teams I just mentioned, 3 winners. Peachtree Ridge, a close loss. But you're talking about, doing and going up against the other state's best teams, and Georgia coming out on top, guys.
Yeah, I think it's just props to Georgia, right? Props to the coaches and players and where we put football here. Alabama's a great state of football. Both those programs are really good programs they play. Thompson, I watched that game from the hotel room with Grayson, and it was an interesting game to say the least. And Grayson did a great job persevering, going for 2. And getting that dub. I didn't see the Gainesville game. Obviously, we'll see their film down the road. And nobody's sleeping on Gainesville, by the way. I'm not sleeping on those guys at all. Okay, they're a top 5-6 team in the state, no doubt. But hopefully we have something to say about that in the region and knock them down a few pegs is our goal. We got to play at their place. So hey, the schedule is not getting any easier, and the coach does a great job up there with those kids as well.
Yeah. Looking real quick at 7A. Oh, I call it 7A. That's going to be a hard habit to break. 6A, the state's largest classification this year. Okay. Again, talk about murderer's row. This is my top 10, the ITG Next top 10, rather. Carrollton, number 1. Buford, number 2. Followed by Douglas County. Colquitt County. Camden County. Collins Hill, got them at 6. I believed in Collins Hill when nobody else was believing. Number 7, Mill Creek. Funny how we all of a sudden forgot about Mill Creek, a completely dominant team 2 years ago, right? North Cobb coming in at 8. Walton. Yes, they lose their big-time quarterback, but they've got a good one now. And then Grayson at number 10. I promise you, Grayson is probably the best number 10 team in the state in any classification. But you see what we're doing, guys? Reading these top 10s over and over, like, a 6A, 5A. I haven't even really paid a lot of attention to 4A. I mean, any one of the 20 teams between 6A and 5A, think about this. Any one of those 20 teams, I think, are legitimate state champion contenders. Y'all's thoughts and the viewers' thoughts.
Zani, go ahead.
Okay. I do believe all of those are top contenders. All of these top 10s, are hard hitters. And a lot of them have won championships in the past, so they already, like Stephen K. Wynn mentioned, he said every program with a championship culture understands the 1-0 each week mentality, rest, reset, focus, and execution. And I feel like a lot of these programs that are in your top 10, they have that mentality, so just having to play each other every week, you're going to see a lot of tough teams go against each other, and it's going to be a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see kind of the, survival of the fittest, so to speak.
Yes. So I can't wait till region matchups.
You're absolutely right. And that's, again, the great thing about it. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, these non-region contests is what gets me. The most competitive non-region schedule I can remember ever being played.
Yeah. But I think it's a good thing.
Oh, completely. 100.
Yeah.
I mean, just a great thing. I mean, look at all the games we've had so far. I mean, the few games that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And, there's been several that we've skipped over that we haven't even mentioned. So
just, this past Friday, Collins Hill and Woodward Academy. That was a close game. Third and fourth quarter, they were amazing quarters.
They really were. That game was just it had no dull moments. But
yeah.
Sly, you chime in on this, brother. Again, just no weak links, it looks like.
No, and I think everybody gets it now. Schedule matters, right? You got to sit there, and you can't come out against, a no-load team, you want to call it, and get a quick dub, and think you're going to compete for a state championship. I think your teams that all make it far, make it deep. I'm talking the ones that get to the Final Four and the state championship year in, year out, game 14 and 15. Their schedules are tough, guarantee you, right off the bat. And then, you're playing competitive regions, which you don't control, but what they are now, they're competitive as heck. So I think what people have to realize is, the iron sharpens iron for sure. But like I think Stephen K. Wynn said, the template's there, the teams that have done it before. And it sounds like a cliche, but yeah, we know. But look, if you have a plan in place, it works, you're not going to deviate from that plan. I don't care what social media says or what the guys say at the coaching clinics, or what it takes, and what your kids can do. I think that's different than back in the past. Back in the past, it was almost like a year by year thing. Now it's a vision thing. Now there are people looking at you're looking at your teams, you're looking at your class from like 27, 28, 29, how good you're going to be, right? Kids coming through your feeder programs. I think it starts into be a complete comprehensive program, and most teams you've mentioned, if not all of them, have great programs. And I think that's the key.
So let's talk about read some of the comments here, and I want to go into some of the who are the teams maybe just off the beaten path. We got some good ones here that people are talking about, but let me see here. I want to go back to a comment. Give me just a second. I think it was Obadiah Farley who had mentioned this. Let's see here. Bear with me a second, guys. So, well, first of all, Tory Butts. Oh, here we go. Obadiah Farley. Let's just say this: someone in 5A will pull off an upset in region play in the playoffs. Good point. Who's that going to be? And that's what I'm talking about. Who are our teams just off the beaten path? We've talked about great teams, our top 10 teams, but who are the teams off the beaten path? Somebody mentioned Northside Warner Robins. Okay, we can't forget about Northside Warner Robins. Remember all those consecutive winning seasons they've had? Look out for Ben Bailey's Eagles. I mean, again, and these are the teams, and I'm trying to think who we've had in the past few years that have kind of come up and surprised people, kind of came out of nowhere and made a run. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Rome. Okay, yeah. Rome may have the best team John Reed's had in a decade.
Yeah, somebody wanted an update about them. Somebody asked about them earlier in the comments. Do you know anything about them lately?
Sly, do you know what's going on with Rome? I mean, I know they had they had the Creekside game canceled. Mm-hmm. I think it was Creekside. Then they had an off week this past week, but I think they're scheduled to go back to play this week.
Yeah, I think I heard that from down in Florida. They're scheduled to come back to play this week. With the bye week, it helped them a lot. And then you couldn't blame them, but not playing the Creekside game. So I think that's who it was. But to your point, it'll be interesting to see how they come and get rolling, because that's a team. I'll be honest with you, I forgot about them because they haven't played.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but you're right. He's a great coach, and this is probably one of the most talented teams he's had in a while.
Evan Reese says, even although Roswell is top 10, not many people are talking about them. And Michael Baxter says they're going to be sleeper teams. And I think Roswell, again, not really, shouldn't be a sleeper team, but I think Roswell is kind of your perfect example. Not a lot of people, really get to talking about them, although they're a team to be reckoned with there. And they're in the 7-5A region, right, Sly?
Yeah, they're our region for sure, and they're a rival of ours too. We play them at the end of the year, which could be make or break the region championship, depending how we do against Gainesville. So, no rest for the weary there as far as that goes. But they're not a sleeper team in my eyes. They're on the radar. We know who they are. I think people know who they are. They just kind of try to lay low, but nobody's sleeping on those guys either.
So let me mention a couple of teams. Okay, Central Carroll. Stockbridge, Stars Mill, these are teams that kind of came out of nowhere last year and really made some noise. Look, I've been on the J.R. Harris bandwagon. He's the young quarterback for Central Carroll. Great young quarterback. Now, does he have enough support around him? That remains to be seen. But then you've got teams like Monroe area, okay? I think they're one of the better teams to watch. I've got them as my third-ranked team in Class 3A. And what about how quickly the mighty have fallen? Cedar Grove. Just an unfortunate situation there where graduation transfers have decimated that program. And, again, unfortunate because you had John Adams who left Cedar Grove. Again, you're defending Class 3A state champion, and they won, 4 out of the last 7 years, I think it was. John Adams leaves, goes to Georgia State, take on the college ranks. And, you had Coach Moore hired at Cedar Grove from Daugherty. And bless his heart, he never had he didn't have a fighting chance coming in. No Bo Walker. Bo Walker, I think, still in limbo right now. We know about Bowden Walker, Bo Walker.
Yeah.
Maybe other than who's Monte Crow Ma, most dominant running back in Georgia, and there's a lot of people that you can say that about. But you suddenly don't have your top running back. You got all these other players that left via graduation, several via transfer. So you go from, sitting high on the hog 1 year for actually the last decade to this year, I mean, they may win less than 5 games this year. So, an unfortunate situation at Cedar Grove. And you got to feel for Coach Rod Moore, who's coming in and take over that head coaching job.
They're just going to have to rebuild,
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it's going to take. Sly, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, a great point. I think we talked about this, Bill, early on in the summertime, or maybe midsummer, about Cedar Grove. We said the Buck, the doors are open. People are leaving there when Coach left. And then, obviously, graduation and all that attrition. I can say this, though, and look, I don't know what the administration did down there or not, but I can tell you through our experience, when you transfer coaches and meaning one comes out, one comes in, or you lose a coach, or whatever case may be. And we did this in various sports. You need to circle the wagon ahead of time. And I said it before in the show, get the kids in place, get the parents in place, and sit them down and go, give me some time. We're going to get the best coach here. Don't go anywhere. Lock your dang gates to your school, like seriously, physically and figuratively, to keep them around. If you don't do that and think your program is so good they're going to stay, they're not, because they can move now, right? So they're not going to do that. So I think I don't want to charge up to Cedar Grove. I'm not saying anything wrong as far as protecting their house, but man, I'll tell you right now, I've been there numerous times as AD. You got to lock the gates. You got to circle the wagons. You got to get in your parents' heads. You got to get in your kids' heads and have meetings and tell them to sit tight, because if not, you will lose them. And unfortunately, they're feeling the effects right.
All right, guys, real quick, I want to talk about a couple of other teams. How about the Thomasville Bulldogs? Again, I've got them at number 1 in Class A, that Class A Division I. Again, is Thomasville going to have enough? I think that Thomas County Central game coming up is going to go a long way in deciding exactly, is Thomasville a contender or pretender? Again, game against Thomas County Central, I think, going to go a long way toward determining that. The Dublin Fighting Irish. Now, Dublin, a traditionally strong program. Hadn't heard a lot about them in a couple of years, but look out for them. Is Fitzgerald going to be able to stick around and hang on? I've got him in my top 10. We got him in our top 10, but I just don't know yet. Going to remains to be seen. And, guys, listen, this Class A Division II, okay, don't shake it off just because it's the smaller schools. I'm putting that in quotation marks. Brooks County, the Bowden Red Devils, okay? If I'm not mistaken, the defending state champions, right? Irwin County, it looks like Coach Soliday has got the Indians back. They're ripping and roaring. They're the ones, by the way, that beat Worth County in the shootout.
Yeah.
Emmanuel County Institute, Clinch County, they're back now. I mean, so look, and then of course you got the private school rankings, and don't let private school fool you. Prince Avenue Christian, Savannah Christian. I mean, these are big-time, strong programs. So we've got great football across the board, top to bottom, regardless of classification. And I think it's fair to say, and we're going to close and get everybody's comments on this, this is, kind of as I predicted, going to be, and already has started out to be, the most exciting high school football season I can remember, if not ever, certainly a long, long time. And I'm talking about from start to finish. And I know somebody may say, well, Phil, that's a pretty strong comment. Yeah. Well, I think I've got enough to back it up. But I want to hear what you guys have to say, Coach Sly and Miss Producer, and you guys as well in the last few minutes that we have on the show.
Well, I agree with you 100%. We said this months ago. It's going to be one of the funnest seasons, most talented Georgia's seen in a long time, we think. The way the classifications shook out and the way the regions are shaken out. And now you're seeing it firsthand beginning of the year. I mean, there's some upsets. There's some teams that are just hitting the ground running. But to your point, no doubt, it's going to be an amazing year. And it's already shown to prove that. And by the way, I told my wife this, we were talking today. After next week, we're a third of the way through the season already.
Wow.
Regular season.
It's going by so quick.
Right? I mean, next week, this is week 3. Mm-hmm. And then, it's crazy how fast it's going. And the roller coaster is going to get a lot faster. So keep your hands and feet in the car and put your seatbelt on.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Producer?
Yeah, so it was, we had so much anticipation, like, in preseason.
Yes.
With our top rankings.
That's the
and
word
like
of the day. Word of the day, by the way. Yeah. Anticipation. Go ahead, though.
So, yeah, we were all excited about what teams are going to do. And we see how a lot of our predictions have been turned upside down. We actually get a chance to see this ITG game of the week this week, Brooks County against Cook County. Like we said, we had Brooks County ranked top number 1. And now that we've seen how their season is going for the past 2 games already, a lot of people are putting Cooks ahead of Brooks County. So we're going to see how that turns out Friday. But just like Michael Baxter said in the comments, he said, "I can't wait for region championships," and I totally agree with him. I can't wait how a lot of the region matchups are going to turn out. I'm very excited for that. So I agree with Phil and Coach Sly on that. Like all these games, it's going to be hard hitters every single week. It's going to be a great season to keep up with, and I'm just excited to see how things turn up in each classification.
Here, here. Yeah. It is going to be fun. We are going to be here with you guys every Monday. Guys, don't forget, though, subscribe to our newsletter. It comes out twice a week. You guys are going to love it. It's chock full of great information. Again, check out the show every Monday. And don't forget, like and share our page. And, of course, this Friday, what you got?
Obadiah says I still got Cook.
This Friday, speaking of Cook, Brooks, Cook, ITG next, game of the week. Maybe we're just getting started, and we want you guys to be along for the ride. Everywhere we go, jump on board. We're glad to have you. For Mazzani, Miss Producer Matthews, and for Coach Sly, I'm Phil Jones saying hope you guys have a great night. Big thanks to Dr. Kevin Collins, Houston Clinic, and Pepsi for sponsoring our show. Coach Sly, Mazzani, y'all take us out.
Thank you guys for watching. Like Phil said, we'll see you guys this Friday and every Monday. Keep tuning in, and I'm going to pass it to Coach Sly.
Coach Sly, you got the final word, baby. Take us out.
Hey, keep joining in every week. But I tell you what, this show's so much fun, and you got such great followers and great listeners, and they have great questions, and there's some really good football knowledge in this fan base. So I'm excited to hear what they have to say as the weeks go on as well.
Thanks, Coach Sly. Appreciate you, brother. All right, guys. See y'all Friday night. Don't forget, check out the game of the week. We look forward to seeing you then.